Mr. Toastmaster.
In our speech, we all are high-performance former sales reps at Pfizer, a very famous company. And Pfizer hired Albert to give us a keynote, as a keynote speaker, or share his secrets to closing sales. Albert told 5 ways to close sales. 5 ways to close sales. Albert told.
Congratulations for all of you. You guys are the top performing salespeople at Pfizer. So you have a special guest, myself, Albert, your keynote speaker. Thanks for Pfizer for inviting me to come back again. Today I'm going to be sharing my 5 ways to close sales. So for you sales reps, you guys are already experts, and I'm an expert as well. Hopefully we can share some ideas. There'll be some opportunities for all of you to participate. I do want to highlight one of your key products that you're all, I'm sure, well aware of. It's called Chantix. It is a smoking cessation medication. So for patients that smoke, they take this medication, and over the course of several months, they'll have less and less of an urge to smoke. You can see in this hilarious ad that I love that you guys made, you have a turkey. So instead of going cold turkey, which is when you stop smoking in a short amount of time, you guys say slow turkey, because it does take 6 months to a year. So I love the imagery of this, and it's actually been quite successful. Over the past several years, Chantix is actually the #1 smoking cessation drug. So it's thanks to all of the work that you're already doing. And I like to think of yourselves as an educator role. You are in the field going office to office to various physicians and educating them. Some of them may not know about the benefits of this amazing product. So every day you have to repeat the same message and reinforce, and sometimes there might be even objections. So I can definitely understand how tough of a job it can be. The last time I was here, I actually explained the Hero Sales Method. I've provided that handout for you today. Unfortunately, I don't have time to review the entire method, but I'll simply summarize. So the first step is actually prospecting, so how you actually look for customers. So in your case, you likely have a defined territory of physicians. The second step is in establishing trust, so how you approach that physician, how you introduce yourself, and your educational credentials that will make that doctor know, like, and trust you, so that you're the expert on that particular medication. The third step is actually listening to the problems that physician is facing, and learning about the types of patients, and if there are patients that might benefit from your medication, then you actually inform them of that. And that's when you go to step 4 of suggesting solutions. So in your case, there might be various medications within your portfolio that might match the types of patients that are in that physician's practice. And then the last step is actually closing the sale. The best salespeople actually have to ask for the sale. And in your case, you actually aren't physically taking any money from the physicians, but you still need to educate that physician so that they actually prescribe that medication to this patient. So that's essentially the Hero Sales Method. And today I'm actually going to be talking about the last step, which is closing the sale, which can be quite difficult. And I've created an acronym, which is actually comparison, loss, opinion, story, and example, which actually spells out close, C-L-O-S-E. So I'll go through each of those in detail. So comparison. Well, this past weekend, Sandy and I, we actually went out to Hamilton. And instead of actually driving our Toyota Matrix, we thought, let's try a different car. And lately I've been falling in love with Teslas. Is anyone else here a fan of Tesla electric vehicles? We're a few people. And I went onto this app called Turo. I found a Tesla that was available, and with a few clicks of a button, I was in that car. It was actually someone else's car, and I had it for the entire day. This person had no idea if I would be a good driver or a bad driver. All they knew was my driver's license and my credit card. And the first time I got onto the highway, and I just touched the gas pedal, zoom! It zoomed to 100 kilometers an hour in a flash. I was shocked, and I was like, holy smokes, this is a powerful car. So driving that and compare it to my previous car, there was no comparison at all. Now, how does this relate to sales? Well, you actually want to ask your customer to choose between two options, or even more, if possible. So for example, Sandy, if I said, well, if you had to choose between a red car and a blue car, which one would you choose?
Red.
Red car. Excellent. I personally would choose the blue car, because blue is my favorite color. But by asking a customer about a color choice, it actually draws them deeper and deeper into that sales process. So for example, if I'm a car salesman, and I ask the customer a color choice, and they actually give me an option, in the back of their mind, they've actually already committed to buying that car, right? You can't have a car unless you purchased it. And here they are already in their mind thinking, well, I want that red one. So this is just a way to draw that buyer into that sales process so that they sort of leap right past that purchasing, and then they make some other kind of a choice. It could be color options, it could be seat options, or some other kind of a smaller choice. And it's simply a way to give them various aspects of your product that they may not know about. So that is a comparison. Loss. A loss is when you present an option and then you take it away from them. Now, how do you do that? Right? You need to create some kind of urgency. And the way that you create that urgency typically is by offering something at that moment in time that if they don't take it, it's going to be gone forever. And my best example of this is actually on Black Friday, which occurs in November. People actually shop. They look online and they see, okay, which stores are going to have the TV that they want. They're going to go to sleep early, they're going to wake up early, drive to the store, wait in line, and when the doors open at 9, they're going to rush in just to grab that TV. So you're trying to create that same kind of eager buyer within your customers. How do you do that? Well, you can limit the supply. So a great example might be saying, for Black Friday, there's only 100 TVs. So if you want a TV, you're going to have to be maybe the first 100 people in line. If I said to you, Hassan, well, for this medication, Chantix, there are only 100 pills left. How would you feel as a physician?
I feel like I have to get it right away.
That's right. You're gonna be prescribing it because the next patient that walks in that needs it, it possibly might be sold out at the pharmacy. So that's exactly the kind of trick that you can use to try and get that sense of urgency within that customer. Another example might be if I have an event coming up. Normally tickets are $100, and if I said, well, since I'm here today, I can sell it to you for $80, but it's only if you buy that ticket today. That also create that sense of urgency. So that is the second example of loss. Third is opinion, where you actually ask the customer their opinion about a topic. If I asked you, Anita, what's your opinion of smoking?
Negative.
You don't like smokers. That's excellent. So knowing the opinion of the customer helps, because if you as a physician were also not supportive of smoking, then that would be an easier sell because there's sort of an alignment. But if that physician was a smoker themselves, it might be a bit of a harder sell. Right? Not everyone is going to have the same opinions that you do. In this case, I have a photo of a healthy lung and an unhealthy lung. And whenever I show this image, almost everyone says, oh my gosh, smokers have these lungs on the right side? People can see fairly clearly, especially if a physician shows this to a patient, how bad smoking can be. And asking their opinion, it just gets them thinking about their values, and if there's an alignment in the values, then it just makes sense. The physician knowing about this particular medication and prescribing it to patients, it's just making sense because then patients will also benefit. So that's the third example of an opinion. And the fourth is a story. Now this is actually a personal story. The gentleman second from the left, his name is Ming. And back in 2008, we were the best of friends. We were actually going out to a lot of nightclub parties. We were drinking shots of water, and dancing the night away. And we had so many fun nights. Many memories. We were quite friends for a couple of years through university. But Ming was a smoker, and a fairly heavy smoker at that. And even at that young age, we thought, wow, we're invincible. You can just smoke, a pack a week and not have any worry in the world. But in 2008, Ming actually found out that he was diagnosed with lung cancer. And most of us were pretty shocked. How could someone so young be diagnosed with lung cancer? It doesn't discriminate, right? You can be old or young. Smoking in itself increases your risk. And I unfortunately had to say goodbye to my friend Ming because of lung cancer. Now, can you imagine if his family physician had told him about Chantix, a smoking cessation medication? If he knew about it, maybe he'd be with us today. So I urge all of you to think about a personal story, if you're comfortable sharing it with your customers, because those personal stories are what are going to sell the idea. As they say sometimes, that facts tell, but stories sell. And these personal stories, Ming being a personal friend of mine, it's a story that I'll never forget. And whenever I come across smokers, I've told this story to a few people. So think about that as a way to engage with your customers, because it is about building trust. The more that your customers trust you, then the more that you can sell them whatever you're selling. And the last is example. So providing an actual example of how a physician might prescribe the medication. So in this case, I have some recommended dosages for this particular medication. You have to start off with a smaller dose. By day 8, you're at 1 milligram. So showing this visually to the physician will help them to understand, okay, well, how are they going to prescribe this? And typically, we prescribe it in a 1-year time frame. It's the first week that's titrating, and after that, the patient still takes 1 milligram twice a day, or 2 pills a day, daily. So using this kind of example really brings those questions of how the patient will take this, right? Perhaps you might mention the cost of the medication, where they can access it, which pharmacies have it, and how that patient is going to feel, right? I mean, as long as the patient understands that the first 7 days is going to be a white pill and the rest of the days is blue, then as long as the physician can explain that, then the patient will be set, right? And they can start their smoke cessation journey. And so those are my top 5 examples using clothes. Hopefully you'll have some inspiration and tips that you can use every day when you are out there in the field. Because I truly believe that sales reps have a vital role to play. I mean, myself, I was in medical device sales reps, so selling CPAP machines, so treating patients with sleep apnea. And there would be times when I would be driving in my car and actually eating my lunch in my car, because there's no place to heat up your food sometimes. And going to a McDonald's or a Tim Hortons just to use their bathroom. I know what it feels like to be a sales rep. Living in your car, making phone calls, checking emails. It's not a job that everyone can take. And most actually leave that profession within a few years. But for all of you, as high-performing salespeople, you're the best at Pfizer, and that's why it's such a privilege to be able to share my experiences with you today. But your job is not done yet. Because there are still some Canadians that smoke. This is just a graph that shows the percentage of Canadians that smoke cigarettes. So we're at about 15% now. You can see that overall Canadians are smoking less and less. You would agree? But until we've reached 10%, or 5%, or even 0%, I believe that we can do that. Every single physician that you talk to is going to impact hundreds, if not thousands of patients. So every single call that you make, the harder that you can connect with that customer, you can help make this a reality. And together, this represents healthcare sales. And I believe that if you follow some of these tips that I've shared with you today, we can all become the king of sales.